I'm fully prepared with everything I need for the Jay-Z documentary. The moment he sent that legal letter, I knew I had to let the world see who he really is. He and Diddy are cut from the same cloth. He just hides his arrogance and control behind a cleaner image. Our feud has lasted 20 years, and I know better than anyone what he's done in the shadows. I even suspect that so-called funeral bouquet wasn't Diddy's idea at all, but Jay-Z acting on his behalf. Back when Nicki Minaj posted that video of him wearing a pink wig, all I did was repost it, and he got so nervous he had his lawyers threaten me. In 2015, Nicki worked her ass off helping him build his platform, and he allegedly pocketed her $7.9 million in royalties. And then there's his fingerprints all over key incidents through the years, whether it's the elevator footage or the guest list at Diddy's parties. He was involved, clearly, but somehow he always walks away untouched. That's what he's best at, pulling strings behind the scenes while pretending to be spotless in public. And now that a corner of the darkness has been ripped open, I'm not stopping. Everything my team and I are doing isn't about attacking anyone. It's about making sure the truth can't be buried by him ever again.
If he ain't answering the phone?
He ain't answering the motherfucking phone.
Yeah, it's like this, like
We had a black billionaire's lunch.
black excellence. They're sitting there like, yeah. It's a billionaire brunch. You're like,
I hate you, man.
And we here together, and we're gonna keep staying together. We getting tighter.
unaware of anything going on here. This is the one time I'm gonna be with you this year. Yo, I feel like I'm normal again. Get me out of here.
Jay-Z is coming under intense pressure as reports suggest that previously private communications between him and Sean Diddy Combs may have surfaced, igniting a wave of online reaction. The revelations have thrust Jay-Z into an uncomfortable spotlight, reviving long-standing speculation about his close ties to Diddy and resurfacing past associations that many are now examining with renewed scrutiny. As these alleged exchanges continue to circulate, old claims are being reopened and reevaluated in the public eye. Perceptions are shifting rapidly, and the momentum is building, fueling a growing storm that could put Jay-Z's reputation, influence, and decades-long legacy to a serious test.
Sean Carter aided and abetted or was directly involved. It's about to get real tense, and there's a lot of girls and boys who are still trapped inside.
In past interviews, 50 Cent has been clear about keeping himself outside of Diddy's inner circle, explaining that certain invitations and environments immediately raised red flags, prompting him to step back early. That deliberate distance, he says, is what allows him the freedom to speak his mind without restraint. When these allegations later emerged, 50 maintained that he discovered them just like everyone else, through the media. While he acknowledged the seriousness of the claims, he emphasized that the revelations didn't come as a shock. They only confirmed concerns he had long held.
Explained that Jay-Z is worse than Diddy. She explained how Jay-Z has done worse things than what Diddy did to Cassie to other females. And she said that she has the scars to prove it. She alleged that at one time Jay-Z attacked her and got it on film like Diddy did. And she alleged that this is why Jay-Z is totally pulling away from Diddy and you don't see him around. And it's been alleged for quite a while that Jay-Z is pulling away from Diddy because he doesn't want himself caught in the crossfire. I mean, you even have 50 Cent at this point talking about how Jay-Z is in hiding while this whole Diddy thing blows over. And you even have these accusations of Jay-Z being responsible for what happened to Cassie White. So I'm going to go ahead and roll you guys this clip of everything that Jag had to say about Jay-Z being worse than Diddy. And you guys let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
Sean Carter is just as bad as the diddler. And I know that for a fact. I got the scars to prove it. You want to know what a box cutter feels like going into your skin and ripping you? I can tell you how it feels. Y'all ain't seen shit yet. That Cassie shit, that's nothing. I'm saying Sean Carter remembers everything he did to me and he's got it on tape. just like Diddy. And they're going to be crazy. It's going to be the women that get them in the end.
As the investigation expanded, the spotlight increasingly turned toward Jay-Z, with critics questioning his silence amid the escalating developments surrounding Diddy. That quiet, measured stance only fueled speculation, leading many to believe his team had noticed early hints of his name surfacing in public discussions and moved swiftly to control the narrative. Even without formal charges, the reputational impact was already unfolding, as social media amplified unverified claims and intensified speculation, transforming uncertainty into immediate, high-stakes consequences that seemed both unstoppable and inescapable.
Exactly what Jay-Z's accuser is saying, that even though she dropped the lawsuit, she still stands by what she says, and she only dropped it because of harassment and the fact that she's terrified of Jay-Z. She says that Jay-Z is allegedly bullying her into saying that her accusations were false. In fact, in new legal documents, she is claiming that she was recently approached outside of her home and cornered by two people who told her they were investigators working for one of Jay-Z's lawyers. She claims they tried to get her to sign an affidavit stating that her claims against Jay-Z were false, but she refused. Jane Doe also claims the alleged investigators asked her if her attorney, Tony Busby, sought her out as a client and offered her money to pursue false claims against Jay-Z, two allegations she says she denied. He says this alleged confrontation left her intimidated and terrified, wondering how they found her when her identity had remained anonymous in media reports and legal proceedings. He also claims that her parents were approached by two investigators asking similar questions about Busby and her story. In the new documents, she reveals she decided to drop the claim because she was frightened by the reaction from Jay-Z and his supporters. He says she feared she would be publicly outed and subjected to...
Industry insiders have warned that a single criminal investigation could destabilize far more than just those in Diddy's immediate circle. That's why many believe 50 Cent's documentary carries real weight, not just as a spotlight on one individual, but as a deep dive into how power operates behind closed doors, who may have been aware of what was happening, and how accountability can ripple outward once serious scrutiny begins. Analysts have also questioned how Diddy managed to stay shielded for so long, pointing to strategic alliances and tight control over public narratives, while rumors quietly circulated. Tension escalated further when reports suggested he might be cooperating with authorities to strengthen his own position, a development that, if true, could involve sharing information about others in his network, sending shockwaves of uncertainty, and raising the stakes across the entire industry.
Will Diddy start snitching?
He better. But the only thing I'm interested in him talking about is everything he knows about Kathy Coriana White. See, I know you know what happened to Corey. Diddy, I know that. You and Jay-Z. Down in Vegas at Tao with Claudia. Why don't you just talk about Kathy? That might help. That might help a lot. Kathy Coriana White, Jay-Z's pregnant mistress, who died 24 hours after she announced that she was going public with their relationship and the baby, while he was married to Beyonce. Was it an aneurysm, Diddy? Or are you the one who paid the same coroner that you... Oh, Diddy.
With the documentary now officially released, one reality is undeniable. This isn't a story about the past, it's actively shaping the future. Every new revelation sharpens the focus on those who remain silent, and Jay-Z is increasingly at the center of the spotlight. The scrutiny carries extra weight because his history with Diddy spans decades, making claims of distance difficult for critics to accept. Tension escalated further when Gene Deal publicly challenged statements from Jay-Z's legal team that downplayed their connection, arguing the narrative clashed with what many insiders had long observed. As more voices weigh in and timelines are dissected, the pressure mounts, turning once quiet associations into unresolved questions that refuse to fade.
They was close enough that they wasn't playing basketball, they wasn't playing baseball, they wasn't playing football, and they wasn't playing hockey or soccer for Diddy to come on stage, pat him on his ass, and then make the statement to people in the world that can't nobody call me Sean but Jay-Z. Now, I don't know what kind of statement, and I can't say, I wish I could say half a homo, but I know I can't say it, but I don't know what kind of half a homo that is. And you trying to say that you're not close to somebody. You coming on stage, patting them on their ass, and then you making a broad statement to the public, can't nobody call me Sean but Sean Carter. And I heard Jay-Z said the same thing about them. But they were so close that they had matching white girls together. Because when they used to see each other, they used to say, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? He'd be like, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? So I guess that's a certain type of closeness.
I ain't know anything about that, man. I ain't know about, Jay touching his, ass. I got to go see the video. I ain't hear about that.
Come on, man. Everybody's seen that. 50 even pointed it out. Excuse me. When they was in ATL on stage. Remember when 50 bum rushed the stage with them?
Yeah, I think I recall that.
When Puff came on stage, first thing he did was pat Jay-Z on that. But I forgot. That's your favorite rapper.
Hey, him and Pac is 1A, 1B. But what's your issue with Jay, man? I didn't know you had an issue with him.
I'm never a fan of somebody that...
From Gene's perspective, the ease and familiarity between Jay-Z and Diddy spoke louder than any words ever could. He pointed to a moment during an Atlanta show when Diddy invited Jay-Z on stage. The effortless chemistry between them was impossible for fans to ignore. That clip resurfaced later when 50 Cent highlighted it, sending it back into online circulation. When asked about any personal resentment toward Jay-Z, Gene was quick to dismiss the idea, explaining that it had nothing to do with loyalty or bias. Instead, he recalled a past clash that once carried real tension, only for Jay-Z to seemingly brush it off later, a pattern Gene described as typical among those at the very top. Figures who move through high-stakes situations, spark friction, and yet remain untouched, operating in a rarefied sphere far removed from the everyday world.
These guys are, man, they'll cause situations and cause problems, and then they'll forget what they done because they on a whole nother atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit that he did, you got to understand, like now he'll say that they're kids because he's raising kids of his own. You understand? But how would you like it that if Blue Ivory, 15, 16 years old, 17, 18 years old, dating in his early 30s? You're not going to go for that. No matter what she came through in Hollywood. But you got to understand, guys who was around there, we didn't know Jay-Z them ages. We didn't know these cats' age. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't having no beards and nothing like that. They was wearing low cuts. You understand? Clean face. I would have never believed when Jay was coming around the block, scooping up the young girls and stuff like that he was 30 years old. If they 17, 18, 16 years old and they 22, you thinking they 22, 23, something like that, 24 years old? They mom and them need to check them. They daddy and them need to check them. But that's not that far off. But for somebody to be 30 years old in their 30s and they dealing with kids 16 years old, 17, 18 years, now that's a problem. That's an issue. And now he see that because he's raising kids. And he got a young daughter. I think he got another daughter that he didn't claim and now he claiming them. These cats was doing a whole lot of stuff that people in the industry won't speak on. And then now that you're speaking on it and it's becoming where is that you can get on YouTube and you could talk about this shit and say what you seen or say what you heard, you understand, or what you know. Some people look at it being a problem. But these cats ain't street cats. They entertainers.
Dame Dash, once Jay-Z's closest collaborator, recently spoke out on the serious allegations now swirling around him. What struck Dame most wasn't just the claims themselves, but the sheer intensity of the public reaction. In all his years, he said, he had never seen Jay-Z subjected to this level of scrutiny. Decades of power and influence had long made him largely untouchable, especially in mainstream media. That perception, Dame suggested, is now shifting. The protective barrier around Jay-Z is starting to crack, exposing him to a level of public examination rarely seen for figures of his stature. A stark reminder that even the most powerful names can face intense challenge when the spotlight grows too bright.
Odd to see him in that, getting looked at in that way by white people. Like Jay does, yeah, like I hope that shit didn't happen, but I'm like, damn, they turned the world real, like people on a certain level have been fucking with him a certain way where he couldn't do no wrong for like 25 years straight. This is the first time he's not getting a pass with white media, like he can control black media because a lot of them either work or do business with him, but ring champs can't get him out of this one, and neither can Charlemagne, because those are the guys that hold him down no matter what he does anyway. So he got to get to People Magazine and Entertainment Tonight right now because they on his head. But the question is why? Like, why now? Because for me, I'd be like, yo, that's so ridiculous. Yo, take that to trial. You're not going to win. Let's get a deposition or something. So I don't know why they on his head so much, pause. But I never seen him, under this, I never seen him in this position to have to explain himself. Pause.
How you feel about the statement he came out with?
I mean, I didn't hear him say anything. I heard a piece of, like I said, I'm doing an interview, so I talk. I thought it was long. For a statement, I thought it was long, pause. But, I think right now, his silence is the worst thing for him. If he is innocent, he needs to let people ask him questions, and he needs to be able to say his side.
What caught Dame Dash off guard most was seeing Jay-Z in unfamiliar territory, guarded, reactive, and under sustained pressure, a position he has rarely occupied outside a few isolated moments in his career. For decades, Jay-Z operated without needing to publicly justify himself, which makes this level of scrutiny all the more striking. Meanwhile, questions persist about why 50 Cent seems so determined to challenge him, suggesting that the Diddy connection alone doesn't tell the full story. Tony Yo offered deeper context, explaining that tension between 50 and Jay-Z has simmered for years, fueled by rivalry and lingering questions of loyalty. Hip-hop has always thrived on competition, where egos clash and conflicts flare. But growth is part of the journey. Yo pointed to a recent performance where 50 shared the stage with Dr. Dre while Cameron appeared as well, a clear example of past friction being set aside. Cameron later remarked that Jay-Z prioritizes business over culture, a point Yo reinforced, noting that Jay-Z is consistently present at high-level corporate events, while often absent from hip-hop moments that matter most to artists like 50. That perceived imbalance continues to fuel questions about his priorities and allegiances, keeping scrutiny firmly on him.
I don't think I would have said that he didn't know Puff at all or wasn't his friend. I thought that was a little extreme. I thought that was the wrong choice of words. I think that's going to trigger a lot of backlash. But the thing is, I never seen him get backlash at all. So that's what I'm saying. Now he getting backlash. Like, when did you know Jay-Z to be on his heels other than when he got beat up in the elevator? But that was nothing. But I've never seen him under the fire ever. Not in a long time. Not like, I've never seen people on his head like that, Paul. Ever.
Yeah, this might be my first time seeing people come at him like this.
Like I said, I didn't hear him say anything. Like, I'm not some white man speaking for another black man doesn't add up. It just doesn't work like that. Like, he doesn't know what to say on Jay's behalf. Jay would have to say that. So if he instructed him to say that, like, you don't even know if Jay told him to say that. He could have got off the stage and they was like, why'd you say that? He was like, I had to. You know, like, he probably said it because homeboy wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? Like, I didn't hear him say anything. I haven't heard Jay say a word yet. Have you?
Nah, I haven't heard him say anything.
There it is. So y'all going by a piece of paper with words, don't get caught up in that. I have not heard him say one thing yet. You know? Until I see him speak, he hasn't spoke to me. That's why I said I don't think he did not say that. His lawyer said it. So that, what else is a lawyer gonna?
Yo highlighted a striking contrast between Jay-Z and 50 Cent when it comes to accessibility. While Jay-Z operates at the highest levels of power, maintaining a deliberate distance, 50, equally influential, remains visible, grounded, and loyal to the people who helped build his rise. Yo stressed that true stature comes from honoring those foundations, not separating from them. He recalled a moment that left a lasting impression. During the Super Bowl halftime show, Jay-Z reportedly resisted including 50 Cent. It ultimately took Eminem drawing a firm line, refusing to perform unless 50 was part of the lineup, to change the outcome. To Yo, that episode went far beyond strategy or optics. It carried a deeply personal undertone, reflecting long-standing tension and an unspoken rivalry embedded in their complex history.
There's one part where 50 was talking, and he was saying, yeah, when Yayo was locked up, every G-Unit show, we actually put aside the money.
Bro, I told
for him,
you.
And he had he's like, Yayo had like $1 million.
Right. I just told you, when I came out of my building, I see the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
There was no way I was getting shot there. And this is what I kind of tell you is like, when we was talking about stacks with the Porsche, 50's not going to let you say, get the Porsche. He going to say, let's get him out the hood first. You know, if the money's there, but the money has to be there for you to live like that. The money's there. 50 didn't have to do that. Rest in peace to Hervé from Interscope, because he always said to me, man, 50 do more for you than any artist, than anybody does for their artists, more than
Over time, insiders claim the once solid bond between Jay-Z and Diddy began to show cracks, with trust eroding and uncertainty growing over who would protect their own interests if circumstances turned against them. Some have gone even further, suggesting that Jay-Z may have quietly played a role behind the scenes in Diddy's setbacks, an allegation publicly raised by Jaguar Wright, though never substantiated. Regardless of its accuracy, the speculation underscores a harsh reality at the highest levels of influence. Alliances are conditional, loyalty is fragile, and power structures can shift without warning, turning long-standing partnerships into strategic standoffs almost overnight.
Cameron.
Yeah.
He made a statement recently. He said that Jay-Z loves money more than hip-hop. And he pointed out that Jay-Z performed at Tom Brady's Hall of Fame ceremony, but he didn't perform in any Hip-Hop 50 events.
I mean, Jay-Z's on a whole nother level. Like, I mean, you know, he's like, but you know what I like about 50? 50's on a whole nother level, but he's still approachable. You still get to meet the people and you know, Jay got to remember the people that made him. You know, I'm not saying I don't got respect. I respect Jay-Z, 50, used to respect, you know, Diddy, but all that crazy shit going on. But, you know, I always respected him because I looked at, for New York, those were like the guys. You know what I'm saying? The guys with the most money and the most influence. So with Jay is like, when the last time you haven't seen Jay. So I think people are just going to say that. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I mean, Jay, you know, you got to remember, he didn't want 50 at the Super Bowl. That was crazy. I'm like,
wait, Jay didn't want 50 at the Super Bowl?
You didn't know that? Yeah, he didn't want.
I remember Eminem pushed for it.
That was some hater shit. Yeah,
I remember Eminem was like, I'm not going to do it unless 50 does it. I heard that.
Yeah,
but I didn't know that Jay was trying to stop it.
I don't think Jay. I don't know. 50 never told me that, but I don't think Jay wanted him there. I don't know.
Because of what, some of the.
I mean,
the
you know, it's competition. You got to think. 50 always been competition for Jay. Remember, I'm about $1. What the fuck is 50 Cent?
That was a long time ago.
That was what, 9? What was that? 9?
But after that, they did a song together. Remember the whole,
of course, but 50 was always competition for niggas. Then remember Jay said, yo, 50's coming. He told Siegel and them, and Memphis Bleak and all them.
Yeah.
And come on, 50's like, he's on a whole nother level. You got to remember, he came after niggas. He came after Jay and Rockefeller. G-Unit came, and people might shit on G-Unit, but with Eminem, Dr. Dre.
Roger Bonds, Diddy's former head of security, offered an insider perspective that adds a new layer to the story. While he observed Jay-Z and Diddy crossing paths and interacting, he never saw their relationship as genuinely close. According to Roger, Diddy appeared to believe the connection carried more weight than it actually did, exposing a disconnect between perception and reality. His account highlights how, at the highest levels of influence, surface-level familiarity can easily be mistaken for loyalty, and carefully maintained appearances often conceal far more distance than the public is meant to see. Other insiders from Diddy's camp have pointed out a clear imbalance in the relationship, noting that Diddy consistently showed up in support of Jay-Z in ways rarely reciprocated. Behind closed doors, this pattern revealed uneven loyalty. Effort flowed strongly in one direction while true reciprocity remained limited. It's a reminder that alliances at the top can look solid from the outside while privately revealing a lopsided dynamic, where commitment is assumed but rarely equally shared.
Says to people, he goes into boardrooms and says to people, which I will never say, is he says, it's important for me to be a billionaire, because Black people need to be billionaires. And why does specifically he, at that time, I've had this conversation with white money people when they go, it's important that Jay-Z becomes a billionaire. And I go, why? And they said, because he wants to open up a casino. He wants to open up this, he should have an alcoholic brand. He needs to have a casino. He needs to have this. And you're like, why the fuck does anybody need a casino? Like another fucking casino
money
in this world.
And it makes it very possible for people to launder money all day.
Yeah. So like, why, even the fact that you want to become so powerful, then you're not saying because he needs to build schools for Black people in Black neighborhoods. It's because he wanted to build casinos for Black people.
For them to keep wasting their money and then for him to keep giving them overpriced merchandise. It's a rat trap.
Yeah.
All of it is. The sad part is that hip hop has now turned itself over to this greed machine and doesn't realize.
From this perspective, Jay-Z and Diddy were never bound by the deep loyalty the public assumed. They moved in the same elite circles, sharing success, access, and influence, but without a truly solid foundation. Over time, the absence of genuine allegiance became increasingly evident, and the distance beneath the surface grew impossible to ignore. Now, with events unfolding in full view, those long-hidden fractures are exposed for all to see, raising the question: will this widening divide continue to grow, and could it ultimately reshape both of their legacies? Share your thoughts in the comments below.